Good morning, world.
Hi.
Believe it or not, this is our fourth attempt at recording this video.
Fourth attempt.
Today, we are going to be doing a talking vlog. I don't know why, but some of you guys like talking vlogs, so we're going to be doing a talking vlog.
Talking vlog.
Talking vlog.
We should be podcasters. Should I use my podcast voice?
A lot of people really like your voice. You get compliments on your voice all the time.
I do. Especially if I do it deeply.
Yeah. Maybe it's because I've been with you for so long. I just don't notice it anymore.
If I do my deep voice,
Okay. Anyways.
kind of sound like Markiplier, I think.
Oh, yeah.
He has a really nice voice.
Markiplier does have a really
Actually,
nice
my
voice.
regular voice is pretty deep, normally.
Yeah, maybe you should just use your deep voice from now on.
I'll just keep it low.
You're, like, becoming much more attractive to me.
My God.
So, we are going to be doing a video that has actually been requested quite a lot. We're going to be breaking it up, though, because it's going to be a long story, and I don't want to be doing, like, talking your ears off for an hour, so we're going to break it up into parts. The first part is, people ask us all the time, why did we move here? What was the decision?
Part 1.
You kind of sound like George Takei.
Oh, that's the Star Trek guy?
Oh my.
Oh my. I don't even know what he sounds like. Was that spot on?
That sounded pretty similar.
I don't even know what you're talking about. Should I look it up?
No, it's fine. Oh, you can look it up later. Anyways, okay, the first part is why we moved here. And the second part was like what that process looked like. And then I think maybe we could do this tomorrow. We could just do a couple series. The next video we will talk about is like how we got married here, the visa process, and like about staying here in Okinawa. So the first part is how we got out of the States, and then the second video tomorrow will be how we stayed in Japan. Does that sound good?
Okay, just guide me.
I'm gonna pee my pants. I can't stop laughing. It's so weird. Okay, so y'all want to know why we moved here? Because we wanted to. All right, we'll see you tomorrow. No, okay, so do you want to talk about like why you wanted to and then why I wanted to? Or like how do we want to approach this? Because I think the moment I got on the plane to leave for the States 10 years ago, I wanted to come back. Like, ever since, I don't regret the last 10 years that I've lived in California, but I knew I always wanted to come home. Like, this is home to me. And so, for me, it was more of like spending 10 years trying to get home, if anything. And then along the way, I met this guy who, decided he wanted to come home with me too. So why so the first time you came to Japan, like what was the reason you were okay with moving here?
I've always really been interested in Japan. Should I use my storyteller voice?
No, just yeah, if you want to.
I've always been interested in moving to Japan.
I can't take you seriously.
Ever since I was a wee little lad.
Oh my.
Oh my. Ever since I was a little girl.
You sound like George Takei. It's not Markiplier. You just sound like George Takei.
Okay. No, I don't know. I think when I was a teenager, I really got into technology. And at that time, Japan was like king of the crop. Like every piece of like best technology was from Japan. So that sort of sparked my interest in Japan at that time. And I don't know, I think the first time I came, I really liked it. And I don't know, I can't really explain it. There's a lot of cultural differences that I appreciate a lot more about Japan than America.
I think a lot of it too is we're both the type of people that can't stay in one spot for very long. Like we love,
yeah, I agree.
we like to travel. So like we are here in Japan right now in Okinawa, but we're not opposed to trying out living in Tokyo or trying out being in Thailand for a little. Like we're both very adventurous people.
Yeah.
I think the older we've gotten, we've talked about settling down here, and we've mentioned this in other videos, but settling down here and creating a home base, but then continuing to travel and try living somewhere else.
Yeah, I think neither one of us are the type of person that's like afraid to do new things. In fact, I've always preferred to try new things, you know, and like I'm not afraid to just go and live off in some other country. Japan, you happen to have ties here, but like I'm okay if, you know, tomorrow you're like, let's move to Lithuania. And I'd be like,
All right.
all right. Not like go with the flow, like I'd probably look
And plan it.
into Lithuania a little bit, but I wouldn't be afraid of going there. I'd
Yeah.
just like kind of just be like, is Lithuania interesting enough to move there? You know, that type of thing.
I think it'd be really good to talk about like how this came about, because we haven't really even hit a year mark of when we decided to move. Because we decided to move sometime in the spring of last year.
Well, that's when we made like the final decision of like when we were gonna move.
I mean, we've
But
been talking about it for
prior to
years.
that, yeah, we've been wanting to move to Japan for years.
Yeah.
So
But we, so how it came about is I got down with really bad hay fever last year. Like, I think I got to a point where I like, it was causing me to throw up and stuff. And I was just so done because I've never experienced allergies before outside of Sacramento or like outside of Okinawa or no. Yeah. I was right. So I've never experienced allergies in Okinawa, and then I moved to Sacramento and I got hit every spring. And then that spring particularly just happened to be really bad. And at that point, like, we had walked away from the businesses that we had in the States. So nothing, no business, no job, aside from his family and our friends, was tying us down to Sacramento. And neither of us liked Sacramento. Neither of us wanted to be there. So for a while, we even talked about so what happened was I was like, I'm tired of living here. I hate every year that I get seasonal allergies, and it's bad each year. Can we move somewhere else?
yeah, I think for me, like, because I kind of grew up in that area, you know, since I was 11, I lived there, and to me, it was like I didn't mind it. You know, I had a lot of friends, and you know, I just played video games and stuff. But so I have a lot of memories there. But the older I got, the more I realized like Sacramento was not really my type of place, you know. And I don't know. Just as time went on, I was like, you know, there's a lot of things that I don't really care for here, and like, you know, the people, like, whenever you move, I think the people are the biggest thing you always miss the most, the thing you're going to miss the most. But sometimes you miss the place too, but it's not happening really for Sacramento. I'm like, I don't know. I just think about it, and
Like, I miss the people, I don't miss the place.
yeah, like there's not really anything in particular that I miss doing that's only in Sacramento, or like maybe the looks of something. I don't know. I think like there are really pretty places in California, but you have to drive outside of Sacramento to get to them.
Yeah.
So I might miss some of those places, but
I remember,
yeah.
I think, so what sparked it was that I think I was just so done with living in Sacramento. And it was also the cost of living at the time. You know, we have, you know,
Oh, yeah.
no matter how hard we work, no matter how much money we got, it always felt like we were just like barely surfacing.
It's
like,
true. California
is so expensive.
it's pretty, but in my opinion, at this point, it is not worth the price
You
of
pay,
living there.
yeah. And so we talked about, so I mentioned, okay, can we try moving to a different state? Like, can we move to a different state that's cheaper? But then Matt was like, well, moving to a different state would just be basically the same thing. You know,
Yeah, like,
just more
okay,
of the same thing.
We might be able to afford it, but like, I don't really like
living in the States.
Living in America. At least that's how I felt at the time. And I still feel that way. But it might change,
Yeah.
I never know.
And so that was the thing, is like I suggested different states, and then he was like, no, I don't really want to just move to a different state. What if we try moving out of country? So that's when we decided, we weren't originally set on Okinawa or Japan. We talked about Malaysia.
Yeah, we visited
New
Malaysia
Zealand.
on our trip, and we really liked Malaysia.
Yeah, so
New Zealand. Malaysia is also very affordable, and the main language is English. So if you guys haven't been to Malaysia and want a cheap place to travel, check out Malaysia.
Yeah, but we talked about different places. Like, it wasn't just Okinawa that we
And
decided.
New Zealand, yeah.
Yeah, we talked about, because New Zealand, you can get work visas.
Yeah, it was easy to get a work visa, and also the living cost there is high, but the
wage you make.
Yeah, like the job is like guaranteed. It's like 100% employment right there. Like you could walk off the plane, get a job, make $16 an hour, and actually live on $16 an hour there by yourself. So we had a lot of friends that did it, and we met a lot of travelers that did it.
Yeah.
$16 an hour in California is minimum wage, and you can't live off of it.
No.
Unless you have 6 roommates.
Yeah, and that's not even
Then
like...
you might be able to get a 1-bedroom
Yeah,
apartment.
and that's almost like not even exaggeration. The thing is, for us though...
Yeah, more or less.
I think the reason we settled on Japan was, one, we both love Japan and we both love Okinawa, but it was one of those instances where I think a lot of it was a security thing too, especially because he had never lived outside of the States. And so I thought, well, we want to bring our dog with us, and we don't know what all the policies are of like bringing our dog to New Zealand, and Malaysia would just be absolutely like a nightmare. Like, that wouldn't even be possible. So we thought, well, I have family here, we can bring our dog here even though it's a process, and just give Matt an opportunity to try living outside of America for the first time.
Well, Japan is technically the hardest country to bring a pet into.
I know, but Malaysians don't allow... Most Malaysian places don't allow dogs inside the house.
Yeah, Malaysia does not think of... I mean, it depends what culture. It's like...
It's a religious thing. But
anyway, it's interesting.
Yeah, anyways.
Dogs aren't really pets there. They're
Yeah.
like strays that run around.
Yeah, it was kind of a weird experience. And as a dog lover, that was a hard part for me in Malaysia. But I'm digressing. So we decided, okay, so we're going to move to Okinawa. And that's when everything just kickstarted. Like, we made that decision, and then everything just started. Like, I immediately, because I wanted to make that a reality, I was like, we are moving to Japan. Our lease was up in November. We had decided this was going to be a thing in April. And so we had 5, 6, 7, 8, and then we decided, okay, well, when are we going to move? And then we were like, well, we don't want to push it back too far. So what about we just start the new year in Japan? So we decided, okay, January.
I think something important to note is, like, we both are of the belief that, like, your life can change in an instant just with a decision. And that's what we did, was we just set down a plan and just decided to move that day.
Yeah.
I don't know where I'm going with this, but...
Well, and that's true. And then that's the thing is, like, immediately in that moment when we decided, okay, we're moving, our lease is up in November, in that meantime we'll just stay with his parents' place between November and January until we move, and then January we'll come here. And so we immediately went into action planning everything out. I told everybody. I called my mom pretty much 2 or 3 days afterwards and was like, we're moving.
The thing was, it was one of those things where we made the decision, and whether or not we were ready at that moment... We weren't. But whether or not we were ready at that moment, we just did it anyway. And I think that's how, especially these last few years of learning about entrepreneurship and all that, it's a great way to live life. It's like how you should live life, is if you want something, make a decision, plan for it as much as you can, but otherwise do it anyway, because if you want to do something in your life, there will never be a perfect time. And that's the truth. So you just got to do it, because you'll figure it out along the way.
Yeah, I think, and that's been the case with this move too, is like, Did we know how Matt was going to stay here? Not really.
Nope.
We didn't even know how, we didn't even know, like, if Matt was going to be able to get a visa. Like, none of that thing. Like, did we know we were even going to get married at the time? Not
That just
really.
recently happened, actually.
Yeah. So, like, everything we've done and have been able to achieve in order to stay here, we've just learned along the way.
Mm-hmm.
And we just made a decision to do it. And, I mean, I think having my mom here has been very helpful.
Yeah.
But regardless of where we would have decided to move, I think we would have made it happen.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's kind of how it happened. But one other good follow-up question to this portion would be, how did your family react when you told them?
I think a lot of my family, they probably watch this, but I think a lot of my family honestly just doesn't get it. Like, I think, like, I would say my grandma and my grandpa understand it because they up and left for Germany and lived there for 9 years because my grandpa was stationed there in the military for a while. They lived there. They really liked it. And later on, he went back and found a job in Germany just to live there. And so they get it. They're sad to see me go. I think my mom and my dad...
I think your mom and your grandma had the hardest time.
Yeah, they have the hardest time. I mean, like... I mean, how would your guys' family react if you decided to just move away to a different country, thousands of miles away?
Not even just
you know
that,
I mean?
but I mean, some of the people that we watch have kids. So, like, how would you guys feel, you know?
Yeah.
It's not something...
So, it's not easy on other people, but the thing is, in your life, you have to do things that you want to do, and you have to do things that make you happy. Because if you spend your life catering to what other people think, you're going to ultimately be unhappy in your life and be very unfulfilled. And it's one of those things where, you know, you hear this a lot where when people are on their deathbed, the things they regret the most are the things they didn't do, not the things they did.
I love that you always find a way to make a lesson out of everything. This is your old sort of self-control.
I know. It's like I said, guys, I've been into self-development for like a decade.
Well,
and I have an entire other YouTube channel that I no longer work on dedicated to it. So
let me add to that, because
I'm into life lessons.
Let me add to that. So I think both Matt and I are only children. Well, I have a half sister who's 16 years younger than me, but between my mom and my dad, like my mom, especially my mom, I'm the only one she's got, and his parents, like, he's an only child, so it was really hard, I think, for both our parents when I decided to move to the States and when he decided to move here. But one of the things so when I was 16 years old, I was taking guitar lessons, and I was talking about wanting to move to the States because I wanted to go to school in the States, but I was really hesitant on moving because at the time my grandma was alive and she was one of my best friends, and I was her favorite grandchild, and like we really connected. And I was afraid to move because I didn't want to break her heart. And one of the things my guitar teacher told me was, people you love could be around tomorrow. They could only be around for another week, another year, another 10 years. You don't know when things are going to change in your life or when people are going to come in and out of your life. And you can't base what you want to do or how you want to live by like their timeline. Like, you can't, like, what if your grandma lives 20 more years and you never got the chance to go to the places you want to go, do the things you wanted to do because you waited 20 years. And it was hard for me to understand at the time because to me it just sounded so callous. But I understand now, because you know how much I've traveled, and I've talked to my mom about this too. Because when we were moving here to the States, or back to Okinawa, and I was talking to my mom on the phone, and I was like, yeah, Matt's mom's having a really, really hard time, and I feel really bad about it. I was like, you must understand how she's feeling, because you must have felt the same thing when I moved to the States. And she said this to me. She's like, you know, it really does suck. Like, I would love to have you here because I miss you and I love you. But at the end of the day, I'm not going to be here forever, and I want you to be able to experience the world and be able to stand on your own 2 feet and be able to support you in whatever you want to do, whether you're with me or not, like around me or not.
It's
and
like the perfect time is always now. If you want something for yourself, do it now. You can never wait for the right moment, because I'm telling you, it'll never come.
Of course, that's not the point of this video. The point is why we moved. And
I had to make it about self-development.
But yeah, that's basically the reason we moved. I think both of us were just fed up living in the States. Especially, I think it was more just California. You know, just the prices. Like, we never felt like we were winning, because it was just constant, like, fighting just to survive. And it was just weighing on us, because we fought for so long. And we were like, well, if we're gonna fight in a place where we don't even enjoy fighting for, why don't we just move to a place where we enjoy and then fight for that instead? So, like, it was just a matter of just change of scenery, wanting to try something new.
Yeah, I think, just wanted something new and
coming back
fresh
to a place without allergies, or at
like,
least for me.
Because there was a lot of, like, you know, even if we were, like, thriving in the United States, there's a lot of cultural things that I don't really care about. Like, I'd rather be here anyway. So, you know, it's just, we just love Japan.
Yeah.
I guess that just comes down to it. Like, America's great and all, but there's
still so much of the world to see. We might find somewhere else.
Yeah, because I've met people that, like, I know some of my friends, I don't think all of them would like Japan as much as I do. I think it fits my personality very well, because I like being efficient and precise, and I like the safety, and like I like the
food.
Yeah, the food. Like, when I'm in America, all I eat is Asian food, and it's really hard to find. So
especially
it's
when
not it's not hard to find, but
$14.
It's like, yeah, it's expensive.
Anyways.
Anyway,
we're already like 20 minutes in the video, but we wanted to answer this for you because I know a lot of people ask us all the time, like, why did you guys decide to move? Well, this is why we decided to move. We wanted to try something different. We were tired of trying to fight for a place that we weren't even really happy with.
Yeah.
And his parents weren't happy, but, you know, at the end of the day, being good parents and good grandparents, like, they've supported us in their own way, even though it was hard for them. And for that, like, I am so grateful, you know.
Sometimes you gotta listen to Bon Jovi.
Living on a... Is that
No. It's my life, and it's now or never. I can't sing high-pitched
What was
song.
it? No, it was...
I ain't gonna live forever. I just wanna live the life.
Live while I'm alive.
Oh, maybe, yeah, something like that.
It's... Yeah.
It's my life.
Yeah, anyways. That's it. Tomorrow, I want to make a video about us talking about the process. Because, like I said, neither of us had a plan. We just made a decision, and then we just basically...
And stuck to it.
We just basically was like, okay...
No matter what.
It was all a lot, like, just planning as we went. We're like, okay, so break it down, right? So we're moving in January. It's April now. What do we need to do to accomplish in order to get there? Get rid of our apartment. Get rid of our stuff. Like, figuring it out. And it was a lot of...
Sell our business.
Sell our cars. Like, everything just, like... We just wrote... We didn't even write down. We were just like, okay, this is what needs to happen. And
yeah, we did. Like, we don't own that much stuff, actually.
Yeah, we got...
I mean, a few years back, we really got into that Maria condo. And
I think even before then we were starting to get rid of
yeah,
things.
we
just-
kind of
we're not-
became,
we're
we
not-
sort of went in the minimalistic train, and then
Yeah.
got into Maria Kondo, got rid of all our stuff.
It's really amazing. We actually had we actually had like a 3-bedroom.
We haven't even shipped our stuff here yet.
Yeah, we haven't.
We don't even have that much stuff, but like
Yeah.
we literally came with 2 suitcases and
Our backpacks and stuff.
our backpacks,
Yeah.
and that's what we've had.
Yeah, we've been living out of
Everything
our
to our name.
suitcases at my mom's place. Anyways, yeah, so that's it. Hopefully this video was informative for you. Hopefully, I don't know, it answered some of your questions. Come back tomorrow and we're going to be talking about the process, how we got married here, how the visa process worked, and how we were able to keep him in Japan, because he is able to live here on a residency visa for at least a year. So
Yeah.
we'll talk about that tomorrow. So thank you for joining me. Because I could have made this video alone, but I think it was best for you to be a part of it.
Yeah, I think it's an important perspective to have my perspective, because you're already well, I
That
mean,
sounded so ego.
I just mean, like, I think a lot of people watching this are Americans from America. You're not. You know what I mean?
I'm half.
I know, but you know what I mean, though?
Yeah.
Like, I've lived in America my entire life.
Yeah.
This has never been my home until last month.
Yeah.
You
Okay,
know,
I see you. I see
my
you.
perspective is more relatable to people watching this, most likely.
All right.
That's my point.
I'm picking up what you're putting down.
All right.
Okay. Thanks, George.
You're welcome. I don't know.
No, that didn't sound like him at all.
What does he do? I don't know. He sounds.
You gotta do the oh my thing.
Oh my. Like that?
Oh my god, I love that.
Is it high pitched?
Oh my.
Oh my.
Anyways, all right, we're gonna go. But thank you guys so much for tuning in. I'll see you guys in tomorrow's video. Well, we'll see you in tomorrow's video.
Subscribe.
All right, and like.
And like the video.
I've never said this on my channel, so it's just I like that he's saying it like that. All right, I'll see you guys tomorrow.
Love you all.
Yeah, seriously. Love you too. Love you guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye.